Starting.
Welcome
Let's
everybody,
hear it.
one
Jake,
and all.
tell us
This
the
is
story.
the 62nd episode of the Unbanned podcast, and yet again, I have started mid-sentence, which is why Justin looks like that.
Interrupting Jake is here.
It's great.
Hooray.
Who's Justin?
I don't know that guy.
Either. These are my two best friends in
Sounds
the whole
cool,
wide
though.
world. It's Justin.
Oh,
And
that's me.
Jordan, I guess
Wow.
Jordan's here too.
I'm Is It Fox, also known as Jordan. I have a belt.
I know.
Are you talking about the Jordan, aka Is It Fox?
I think I'm the only one.
I don't have
So,
trouble
yeah.
getting my username in any video games, so I'm gonna assume I'm the only one. Yeah.
Until someone starts stealing it.
So I was doing pretty good when my name on everything used to be Butt Stallion 420.
Well, yeah,
people
you got a
usually wanna
420
take
hand.
that.
And this is, I guess, our Christmas episode, by the way. I know we're talking about Butt Stallion 420, but...
No, it's our holiday
sorry.
episode.
That's
Jake.
true. It's not everyone. Not everyone celebrates Christmas.
Well, okay, fine. It's our holiday episode.
We're having a Caucasian.
And let me tell you
holiday.
right now, if you enjoy your holidays, you should try doing your entire job during the holidays with the cat in your lap, like I am right now.
Yeah, makes things a lot better, you know.
How you started that made it sound like you were going to like an ad read or
Did
something.
you know that...
Well, if you like if you like celebrating the holidays, then you'll love Squarespace.
This is my audition for ad reads. If you love the holidays, you'll love MeUndies new limited time holiday patterns, only
Shut up. I
available
hate you both.
December.
Shut up.
Once
Freaking
you like-
sellouts. You're
do you
sellouts,
like-
both of you.
Do you like relaxing and do you like sitting? Well, do I have the thing for you? This is Raid Shadow Legends. And when you're on the toilet, you can play this game
Raid Shadow
forever.
Legends. If
'Cause-
you sign up now, you get a free hero, 500 silver, and 1,000 gold coins.
The fucked up thing is that literally everyone knows the Raid Shadow Legends ad just because this is always the same. It's all, and you can get a free champion, Bone Crusher, or
Bulwark is
whatever.
the champion this month. Bulwark.
Wow.
He's a dwarf, I think. He's got a helmet.
Maybe.
I don't actually watch any YouTubers anymore who promote Raid.
Guys, this
Right.
has nothing.
Are they out
Guys,
of
this
money?
has nothing to do with anything. But this cat is currently. I can't lift up my. Okay, she let go. She was on my wrist like this, just claw, like, hey, pet me right now.
She's like, keep talking about
Dude,
Raid
she-
Shadow Legends.
Okay,
Make the money for the toys and the
I'll be
treats.
honest. We don't really have a topic this week as usual, so I'm just gonna talk about my fucking cat for 2 hours. This is Agatha. She's amazing.
2 hour.
I'm gonna tip this down so you guys can catch a peek at her. Look at her.
You hear that,
Hey.
audio listeners? Did you hear him tilting his camera?
There's
That
a
was pretty
cute
great,
cat.
wasn't it?
And there's a cute cat there. She's a
Did you
actually
like
really
She's
fluffy cat.
amazing,
Did you-
and she actually really likes it when I sing to her. Sometimes I'll be like doing my day job, and there'll be a quiet time, and I'll listen to some music. Oh, sometimes she plays with the mic.
And he sings sings Tub Wumpet. Was it Tub Thumpin'?
No,
by the
I don't sing that
Chumbawambas?
song.
Yeah,
But-
exactly.
That's his favorite song. If you ever see Jake in public, or like if we ever go to a convention when the world isn't
Mhm.
burning down,
Yeah, when the world's in a
then
better spot.
sing Tub Thumpin' to Jake.
I
It's
hate
his
that
favorite song ever.
But she likes my singing, which is quite admirable, and she's a sweet cat because I'm not a good singer.
That was just me trying to clear my throat. I wasn't actually.
I
I was actually trying
was-
to interrupt or anything.
I was embracing the awkward silence there. I
Well,
enjoyed it. It was nice.
I just actually.
It's
had
okay,
some fun in
Jordan.
my throat.
You-
That wasn't-
you can
that
cut it
wasn't
in
like me trying
post.
to interrupt.
He can't cut it in post.
I mean, I can.
Yeah, but then I'll just add in the video without the sound there.
Don't test me, motherfucker. I will just go ahead and mute the entire
it has
podcast.
been 5 minutes.
I will mute the entire podcast and send you a blank audio file.
It'll just be me, like, doing my best to redub all three of us.
Dude, I
Hey,
want
do your
to
Justin impression right now.
I want to recut the podcast but make it just like one person's perspective and make
Oh.
it super awkward. Like, be
Here we
like,
go.
"Hey everyone, welcome to the Unbanned
It
podcast."
reminds me of when the first time I did a clip for patrons, which, by the way, if you like this podcast, you should go to patreon.com/unbannedcasting, throw us $1, and you can listen to these exclusive clips, including a video of Jordan.
What I do?
You're just like,
So the thing is, if all of us are talking and like, yeah, welcome to the podcast, it's awesome, and I'm like hyping it up, and then Justin's also like, hey, how's it going, like smiling and stuff, and then Jordan goes and claps and then shoots some finger guns, is like, yeah, like,
and he just goes like, he makes like his weird predator
well,
noise or
like
something.
it like fits because everyone else is doing it, but when you isolate just him doing this, it's just a guy fucking sitting there shooting
All right.
finger guns at nothing and like going like, hiya.
So, all right, someday when we all have a lot of time in our day, can we
No,
please
which will
like
be never.
record? Can we record like a 15-minute podcast, just a little mini-sode, but we memorize each other's like lines and we dub over one another.
That'd be very
So like
funny.
I'll
We
dub
should do
over
that.
Jordan, Jordan will be Jake, and Jake
Wrong.
will be me.
If
We're just
For the audio listeners, it's just a normal podcast.
yeah, it's just a normal ass podcast, except that Jake's saying logical stuff. Or no, sorry, Jordan would be saying idiotic stuff the entire time, and for some reason Jake would just be saying, "Wait,
remember
Wait.
Who's gonna be
I would
what?
be Jordan." Yeah, Jordan would be saying dumb stuff because I would be. No, Jake would say dumb stuff. Jordan would be saying
you're
smart
going
stuff.
way
There we go.
too far
Got it.
down this rabbit
Boom.
hole.
No, yeah, no.
All right,
Justin,
yeah, no,
remember
we've
your
lost him.
character.
He's chasing
Remember
the
my
rabbit.
character. Remember Jordan's character. Just read the script, okay?
Yeah,
Wait,
like,
isn't there like a thing somewhere that
Oh
has
yeah.
our description? Isn't it like our
It's on
Patreon or something?
I can read it to you if you want. This is just
I
the
don't know.
episode where we
I
just
just was-
fucking plug Patreon 16 times.
Yeah, chilling.
You know, while you do that, I'm going to talk about games I
Okay.
played this week because that's what our podcast is supposed
Jordan,
to
what
be about.
games did you play this week?
Legends of Runeterra, and it was
Whoa,
awesome.
he played a game.
The new set, the last part of the most recent set came out, which I want to talk about this actually. This is an amazing way to do card games. The way that they've done this, so they don't do sets and then release all the cards. They do sets, they release a quarter of the cards, wait 2 months, and then release the next quarter. And they do it throughout the quarter. They will release 2 champions and their supporting cards every like month or two. It's awesome. Yeah, no, Justin's looking like he's
Not sure
he's
how I
like,
feel about that.
it makes it a lot more fun because you know how Magic did that thing where they release products constantly to keep the hype going? This does
Yeah,
that.
that's bad too. That's bad too.
Yeah,
but-
yeah, no, this does what they were trying to accomplish, but it doesn't murder your wallet. It actually saves you money because you can play in between the releases and get enough wild cards to get the next set of cards.
But you're barely getting anything is the issue.
Except that literally they released Riven and Victor and made like 6 new archetypes because they're not releasing like one card. They're releasing new champions that have like
Hey.
completely
Excuse
different
me.
designs.
Excuse
Jake,
me.
how does it feel to be me?
Shut up. How is it that every game you ever play, you complain about having to play it constantly because they do updates all the time, but then this game does it and you're suddenly okay with it?
Well, because this game doesn't do it
Yes,
constantly.
that is exactly what you said.
It does it like every couple of months.
That is not. So if you release cards
And you
into
don't
a
have to
card
play-
game every 2 months, that is constantly updating the card game. That sounds like my worst nightmare. One of my favorite things about Magic and Hearthstone is I get to that tail end of the season and I can take like a week or 2 off and go, I'm not playing this game for a little bit. I'm going to take a breather and go play another game, which is not great for the developers. And I get why you'd want like constant updates coming through. But one of my favorite things about RuneScape as well is like I can take 3 days off of RuneScape and feel like I didn't miss anything. If you're telling me they're going to
Well-
release new cards on me every 2 months, I don't want to play that game.
You can get all the cards by only playing like maybe 20 to 30 minutes
Right,
a
but
night. Or you could play for like an hour a week and you'll
when
still get all the cards. That's the difference. Is that if I were to go play Magic the Gathering Arena or Hearthstone, in order to get all the cards, I would have to grind constantly
well,
until the next set
I
came out. And even then, I still wouldn't get them all. The difference with this is you can play this game casually and still get all the
right.
cards. So it doesn't really matter that they
I'm
release them
not
too
talking about
often.
Magic the Gathering Arena. I'm talking about physical Magic. Physical Magic, the reason I liked it for so long was every 3 months there was a new set. I had a big resurgence of activity where I would go to a pre-release at midnight. It was a big event. And then I would go and play like really intensely for 2 weeks. And then I would go back to my normal once a week Friday night Magic. And that was my Magic. I didn't need anything else. Maybe I started doing like tournaments and stuff trying to be a pro. But before that, it was a hobby. It wasn't something I did every single night. And it's like I get kind of upset with games where they expect me to constantly be on top of things, and I feel like adding cards to like you're saying it like these are small updates. Adding 2 heroes,
They are.
like like the champion cards are huge. They build entire archetypes around this.
Yeah.
Introducing 2 more
Correct.
of those
It
every
changes
2
things
months
up.
is a huge change.
Yeah. So if they did it the other way, though, it would go like this. Because we could do it the way that Hearthstone and Magic and Gwent do it, which is shit, by the way.
It makes literally 0 sense
where
for Gwen.
we go, okay, we're going to release the same number of cards, but we're going to release them all at once every 6 months. And then what's going to happen is you have to get all these cards at once. So you have to like grind your ass off on this game for however long to get them all. And you have to learn them all, which is confusing and takes time. And you have to figure out where they go in what decks, which means that you spend more time on average. Like there were archetypes in Magic and Hearthstone that weren't discovered until like halfway through the set's life cycle because people just hadn't gotten around to testing it.
Yeah, that was
much.
fun. I liked that. And like that was Justin's entire
yeah.
being in Magic was like trying to find that offshoot strategy.
I mean, if it makes you feel better, you can still build jank. I don't understand like the criticism because it's like if this was an MMO or any other live service game, it would be updated the same way. It just makes logical sense to do fewer updates that are smaller more frequently. It keeps people playing. It means that they don't get burnt out, burning through a shit ton of content really quickly by playing it way often. It means that you can play the game casually and still stay caught up on things. Like smaller release schedules, in my opinion, just work better for games.
I like that they are thinking outside the box as far as releasing. I just feel like and I've already talked about this. I hate how centric the champions are to that game. I think it makes perfect sense that they are. Like that's how League of Legends is. It makes sense to incentivize the heroes. But I just don't like it. I like a great epitome of this is the fact that they did a KDA release, which is their K-pop band, and I'm just like,
you know what I find funny
that
about that?
Everyone else loves it. I get it. I'm the outlier.
No, it's not that. It's not that you dislike it because it's the KDA thing. None of those cards are even like they don't even really have the champions on them.
Yeah,
they're all spells.
But
all of
it's
them.
still K-pop band themed.
So, how small are these releases? Like, how
Let me go
many
look.
cards roughly? Just give me a rough idea.
So
I think
with the last part of, and this was the last part of the most recent set, which is it's Targon, which Call of the Mountain or whatever they call it. But this one is Cosmic Creation, and we got Cosmic Creation, excuse me. And we got 3 heroes, 3 champions. Let me go double check because we got Riven, Victor, and Zoe. I think
are only champions brought in sets.
No, so for this they added in. I'll just go to the patch notes. So they got Cosmic Creation, which adds in 3 champions and 40 new cards.
43 cards added.
Yeah, so usually what they do is they'll release the 3 champions. They'll release their supplemental cards, like their signature spell and stuff that works with their strategy. For instance, for Riven and Victor, it's Augment and what's the other one? Reforge are their mechanics, and they both work around keywords. So the funny thing is that Victor and Riven, the reason why they put them together in this set is because they actually work really well together. Like the first set for Call of the Mountain that introduced the new faction Targon added in Leona and Diana together, and their mechanics Daybreak and Nightfall because they worked well together. They kind of go with each other. But yeah, so the other thing is they didn't just add in that; they also added in prismatic card styles and a way to craft them, which is essentially foils. They added in new region rewards that you can get. You can now complete each region's reward track, which is essentially a battle pass that you don't have to fucking pay for.
Which is good.
Thank
I like
you,
that.
by the way.
It's good.
Dude, not only do they give you a battle pass you don't have to pay for, they give you a battle pass for each region that you don't have to pay for. It just as you level up, you get rewards. Yeah. It's awesome. And then they added in more boards and microtransaction stuff you can buy, of course.
And all that's well and good. I do like the quarterly release schedule. I don't like it as much for a digital card game. I feel like quarterly is a good rate. I feel like that makes sense. I don't really like the way WoW does it, where they're like, we're going to do 3 big patches per expansion. Expansion lasts about 2 years, so it's maybe once every 6 to 8 months. I don't like that.
Yeah, that seems a little too infrequent. I would do it like 3
it's
months.
Also just like, I feel like that game's strength is its end game content. I feel like they put too much work into things that are not that. But that's my opinion. Mm-hmm. I think that the best MMO would be one where there was no leveling and it was basically all just raids. And a lot of people would disagree with me on that. So. But I really, really miss Hearthstone's old business model where it's like we have an adventure and then a full set. And then an adventure and a full set. And Magic kind of did this at one point too, where they had the big set into the small set.
It used to be a big set into a small set into a medium set.
Yeah, and then they cut out the medium set and they just did big set into small set, and you would play the big set with the small set. And then they finally said, we're just going to do whatever we want and probably do 4 big sets a year. And I think that the 4 big sets have been kind of detrimental for that game because there's a lot of fucking junk, and the powerful cards are just like, well, they're too powerful, and that's an opposite issue about power creep. But I feel like it's too obvious. You used to look at a set in Magic, and I hope this never happens in Legends of Runeterra, for example. You used to look at a set in Magic, and you would look at a card and go, oh, that seems pretty good, and that seems pretty good, and these are pretty good, and maybe this strategy works. And you kind of theory craft beforehand. Before I quit Magic, the last 3 sets I looked at, I knew the most powerful cards off the bat. I just knew. Everyone knew. It was obvious which ones were the most powerful. There were some that people were like, oh, maybe that's not the most powerful. Then they banned the most powerful card, and that one was the best one.
I realized another reason why Runeterra's set release works that isn't a thing with Hearthstone, Magic, and Gwent and all that stuff. Those games sell packs. So in Legends of Runeterra, there is not a bad card. If a card is bad, they buff it.
Yeah, because you don't have to have junk cards.
They do not have. Yeah, your commons are good cards. They aren't terrible because they don't have to have junk cards because they aren't selling packs. You can just outright buy the cards,
which makes a lot of sense for a digital card game. And I'm still shocked to my core that they are the first people to really do it.
I don't know why everyone was doing booster packs for so long. I don't know why loot boxes still exist. They're just the worst way to do things.
Well, it's also awful. The worst way to get money from.
Anyway.
But it makes money.
Yeah, it does.
I disagree. I think that you'll get the big spenders more with loot boxes, but I think if you just tell someone, hey, you want that card, go buy it. I think that's going to get a lot more frequent sales, even if they're less in value.
Yeah, it's true, because if you enjoy the game, right, and so I built TF Go Hard, which is a kind of weird mid-rangey, but not really mid-range. I compare it to Phoenix. It's a false tempo deck, if whoever's listening knows what that is. So I built this deck, and I'm like, okay, I want to build another TF deck, but this time I want to build it with Ezreal. I need these cards. Darn, I don't have the crystals or the wild cards. I guess I'll go buy them. So I just go spend a couple of bucks and get the cards. And it's like I feel like that would happen pretty frequently with people, where people would just be like, I just want to
Well,
buy
you
some
can just
cards.
look at all the example cases. Hearthstone, why do people buy packs? Because there's no other way to get cards. That's the only reason. And when you watch people do pack openings of like Magic or Hearthstone, they skip past everything except for the fucking rare. There's only one type of card they really care about. Everything else is just dust on Hearthstone or
Except like
yeah,
one time
there's
a
like
year.
one time a year there's
Yeah.
a common that's really good or something. And on Hearthstone it doesn't matter because you get so many stupid commons that you have them all within a week of the set release.
And you'll just dust them.
The best players like the the people who play physical card games where you can trade cards, they just go to the markets and buy them. No one.
Yeah.
The people opening packs are the ones who are like, "Oh man, I'm gonna try to gamble and get a good value off this pack." Yeah, it was just for fun because it's fun to open packs because it's basically gambling.
Yeah.
I just think
think
that the
go
single
on.
buy a single model is better, and I'm really shocked that more people aren't doing it in digital card games because you have no reason not to do it in digital card games. It's casual players are more than willing to go, that's a cool dragon. I'm going to buy that dragon card.
Well, not only that, but they still make money hand over fist because they have quite a few cosmetic.
Yeah, and you can add cosmetics
and
like
and
professional.
This is right. Games we're talking about, by the way. There's no exclusives, basically. So you have access to every skin and every emote. So it's like if you want to own them all, buddy, you can own them all. You can drop $2,000 getting them all if you really
That's
want.
where League of Legends always shined, right? Like they sell champions, and I don't really like that, especially with how many there are now. But even without champions, if you only like one champion, you can still spend $50 just kitting out that champion with every skin.
It's true. Anyway, but yeah, that's most of what I played. I played more RuneScape, but we've talked that to death, and there's not much else to say about it. So, what have you all been playing?
I have been insanely busy with my Ultimate Iron Man, and that's what I'm making YouTube videos on that. So that's what I'm doing. I want to do like more game review content on my YouTube channel, so maybe we'll get into some more actual games. But
dude, I actually saw an indie game that I want to give a shot. And I might do a review of because so you guys remember how I played Dusk a few months ago?
Mm-hmm.
The developer of that has a pretty large Twitter, and I followed him because he posts fun content. And this poor indie developer made this really cool looking story driven game about like it's like sci-fi, kind of almost looks like horror. And the idea is that it's replayable because if you don't go and talk to certain people, the game goes on whether you want it to or not. So you can miss things. And there's like and the final secret ending, of course, you have to go talk to everyone at the right time and figure out the true story, right? Of what's actually happening. And it's like the game currently has 4 user reviews on Steam.
whoa,
No one has played this game, and I'm like, it's called Stars Die on Steam. It's an adventure game technically, but it's like first person, and I'm like, I'll go to give it a shot. Looks interesting.
yeah, I really want to play Spiritfarer, but I didn't play it when I had Game Pass, and so now I have to pay $10 for it. I don't want to buy it. But it also reminds me of a game that didn't get as much attention as I thought it would. Not to that extent, obviously. It was nominated for a Game Award, but it's kind of like I don't know, Disco Elysium last year that was like a really, really good game, and I basically know no one who played it.
Yeah, because it's an indie game, and a lot of people just don't even pay attention to indie games.
Justin, what have you been playing this week?
Nothing really. I finally started emulating my games that I own, and basically it's just been Gran Turismo 4.
How is Gran Turismo? Because I've literally never played one.
Dude, so it's just a normal racing simulator. I have 3 and 4 on here because I own every game up to 6. And those games are so different. It's so strange to think about. It's also strange to think about that 4 is 16 years old, and I bought that game when it came out like the first month it came out. It was like the first ever game I bought new when I was a kid with my Christmas money, and I'm like, this is awesome. And I've been playing it. I'm like, this game doesn't look great, but it looks good for a game made in 2004.
Yeah.
Wait, is it on PS2?
And PS2, yeah. And I mean, it's just like a racing simulator game. It's nothing special. Like, there's no like crazy elements to it. It's just, I wouldn't call it a simulator anymore because it feels very slippery.
I feel like Gran Turismo has always been kind of like, when I hear, like, when I talk to people who are like racing sim fans, I find that the people who like aren't like super into racing sims, they talk about like Forza or like Project Cars. I've heard a little bit about recently, but for the most part, if I hear about someone who's just absolutely insane about it, they really like Gran Turismo for some reason.
Yeah, well, the newest game's a really good one. I just don't have a PS4, and I can't buy the next one unless I buy a PS5 because it's going to be PS5 exclusive.
Well, you know what? I have 5 PS5s. Yeah. No, when I buy a PS5, I will. You can come over and play my Gran Turismo. How's that?
No, you don't.
I'm not even gonna get a PS5 for a hot minute because I need to upgrade my computer.
My computer is fine, and I'm going to buy a PS5.
Oh, go on.
I'm probably never gonna buy any of those next gen consoles for a while.
Yeah,
it just doesn't feel like worth it to get like a whole new lineup of games that I've already built up enough of already on my Xbox One that I barely play any of them.
There's games I want to play on
look
PS5
at
though, mostly Demon Souls.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, I've got nothing right now.
I mean, I never got to finish the original Demon Souls, so I would love to go play it again, and the remake is beautiful. I also want to play Spider-Man, but I'll get around to those because the thing is I'll still play them even later because there's very few games that I'll play on PS5, so it's like, I mean, then again, I haven't finished all the games I have on PS4 either.
I was like looking at the games I have on PS4 and I'm working through them. I played more Medieval the other week and I just didn't feel like mentioning it because guess what? Did you play Medieval 1? Have you ever played Medieval? You should go play Medieval.
It's great.
It's a good game.
I played the demo like 600 times.
Dude, you should go play the actual game. Like, it's awesome.
But basically, I don't feel a rush to buy a PS5 though, because on PS4 I can count the games I want to play on it on like 2 hands, and half of them came to PC. Like Horizon, I'm gonna play Horizon Zero Dawn now. It's on Steam. I'm gonna get on sale one of these days and just play it.
Speaking of games we're playing on PC, I kind of want to go play Costume Quest because it's like, you know, the holiday season. I remember there was a achievement on that game that I waited like 8 months to get.
I got the waiting achievement on Stanley Parable. Yep.
You did?
Legitimately.
Wait.
You did it.
You have to own the game and then like
so
it, right?
The Stanley Parable's waiting achievement is don't play the game for 5 years. I realized that I could get it like a couple months ago. I just turned it on. I'm like, yeah, I did it.
I did it.
That's a big risk to try that. Because if you screw that up, like it ends up being like a week off.
Because Steam,
it's done.
Steam tells you when you last played it.
Fair enough, but what if Steam's stupid?
It might be.
That'd be heartbreaking.
But the achievement that took me 8 months to get on Costume Quest was to play the game on Christmas because I think someone got it for me as a Christmas gift, but I didn't play it until like the 26th, and I saw that there was an achievement to get to play on Christmas. I'm like, motherfucker. Cool. I did eventually go back and get it. Oh.
Yeah, Master Chief Collection has a bunch of those. It has like a certain day of the month you have to do for every single game. And so like me and my friend were like putting dates in our calendars on our phones, like played Halo 2 on the 16th. And then we'd forget.
Is it like the day that the game was released? Why?
I think so. I think it was the date that all the games were released was the day that you need to play it.
You guys are making my plow pushing look sane.
Yeah, no, dude, there's some strange achievements out there. Let's make a top 10 list of the worst achievements to
Oh,
obtain.
Any 0 point
yeah.
achievement.
Oh, do
Got
you
it.
remember when there were negative
Yeah.
point achievements? Fuck those.
Or
They
Wait,
negative
they
achievements.
what
No, it
were
game?
was
they
only
didn't actually take negative points, but they said like negative achievement, and they were 0 points. And they were like,
yeah. That's what I'm saying. 0 point achievements. It's like it was a Superman game where if you activated a cheat code, you got a 0 point achievement for cheating.
thanks for that,
Yeah.
guys. Really using your time there. Um,
Also, nomination for a lollipop chainsaw where you have to stare up the girl's skirt for like 10 seconds. You get like 10 points for that.
I swear I did it on accident.
Yeah,
Oh.
that one. It's
Dude,
like,
that game needs a remaster,
Yeah.
by the way. Game was
isn't that a
sweet.
Suda game?
yeah, Suda 51. The issue I think would be music licensing again. I don't know if they,
Yeah,
because that game would not be the same
It's
without the
true.
soundtrack.
true.
Suda 51, man. What is that? Have they made anything recently?
It's one guy. Come on, he probably made something across like the
No More Heroes 3 is coming
universe.
out.
Yeah, I was about to say something. No More Heroes, because that's like the only thing people care about from Suda 51.
I mean, it's a good game. Like, I could talk about Lollipop Chainsaw and Killer is Dead, I guess. Like, I want to play Killer is Dead, but it's not as good as his other games.
But let's
I
talk about
still-
his most important game, Super Fire
Shadows
Pro
of-
Wrestling 3 Final Bout.
Shadows of the Damned. You're correct. Shadows of the Damned is one of the best games out there.
I've not ever played it. I should get around to
It's
it.
so fucking good. Even though
Anyway.
apparently it was definitely not what he had in mind when he was making the game. Like, it's like 10% of what he actually wanted the game to be, but it's still a fucking great game.
Wait, what do you mean like it's only 10%?
Like, if you can literally just go on the Wikipedia article for Shadows of the Damned, and there's like a controversy section or something like that. It's like it stands out.
Development.
And it's saying all this. It's saying all these things he wanted to do with the game, but either the studio or the company, because I think it's an EA game. So like they're like, hey, you can't do this, can't do that, or we can't get this in time. So it's basically like nothing that he wanted.
Apparently, he was trying to make it as a survival horror game at first.
It's kind of survival.
It's almost like
just dick jokes.
Yeah,
with
it's like a
survival
parody
horror.
of survivor horror or like a satire. It's
The game went about 5 different versions until EA approved
oh, that's
it.
right, because it was being published by EA, and EA sucks.
EA sucks dick.
Let's say I was trying to remember why I have the game on my Xbox, because I wasn't going to pay the Microsoft Store prices on any backwards compatible game. Which, by
Yeah.
the way, you should never do. Go to like your local game store or whatever and buy the games that are backwards compatible. Because I remember buying Black Ops 1 for like $7 at Hours, but you have to pay $50 on the Microsoft Store
Oh yeah,
for Black
dude,
Ops 1.
the Call of Duty games.
You know, that
The
10-year-old
Call of Duty
game.
games are famous for how incredibly overpriced they are. I think you still have to pay like $20 a piece for all of the old ones on Steam, and that's on like sale. Ubisoft is famous for doing this too, where like Watch Dogs 1 was like still $60 when the second one released, and I'm like, really?
It's like they forget that it existed, and there's like, just keep it up, I don't care. And then Dave from accounting is like, hey, should we lower that price? We haven't sold one in about 4 months. And they're like, we
Well,
made that?
I think it's actually because when you go into like a GameStop and you buy a game from them, they've already paid the sticker price, or they bought it used. So they know that like reducing they just have to kind of cut the profit on it basically. Whereas when you're buying it from the person in store, it's not a third party who's selling it, it's the developer typically. And they set the price of whatever the fuck they want.
Uh-huh.
I just realized why a lot of Japanese games are better than Western games. Not as a rule, but like From Software, for instance, is a Japanese company.
Because the developers and the people who write the game and stuff like that are psychopaths.
Partially, yes. Dude, when like Japanese businesses are like, they are just on it, dude. Like they do not let up. They will crunch their asses off, and they just do crazy. They're okay with doing crazy.
It's
shit.
also just like a completely different culture.
Well, yeah. So the reason why I say this is because he's working with EA. Apparently, I was reading on Shadows of the Damned about why they changed it while you guys were talking just now. Because I started reading it, I couldn't stop. Some of the reasons they gave were so stupid. Like, so apparently initially they wanted the heroine, the love interest, to be in his gun, and was like trapped in his gun, or like would use her powers to help him. But they didn't like the concept and didn't understand it, so they had him remove it. And instead he's like, well, I guess I'll do a talking gun then of just someone else, and we'll just do the typical damsel in distress thing. And apparently he literally did 5 different designs because they just wouldn't approve any of them. And like weird pedantic things, like he wanted you to start out the game without a shirt on and without a gun, because you would have to go get them. Like, and he would be able to buy clothes. Yeah, he wanted to start out like basically where you started out with nothing and you had to ascend and you had to go fight in the beginning and go get the stuff. And they were like, no, Westerners like having guns. Have them start with a gun.
I'm going to throw a rebuttal out there. The game is 10 times better with Johnson as the gun.
I mean, with
I'll go play the game, and I'm willing to bet I'll disagree. But we'll
Johnson's
see.
my favorite character in that game. He's just a gun.
With the game as it is now, I agree. It probably is a better game.
I love how it's comedic, but also kind of a horror game at the same time.
Yeah.
Like I've played it so many times that like the scary things don't scare me anymore, even though there's still one part that stresses me out to no end every time I play it, and there's 2 sections of it in the game. But I love that game so much. I kind of feel bad because I didn't put it on my top 3 games when we did that. I probably should have put it at 3 at least.
Yeah. All I'm saying is maybe we don't listen to the company who took the Divine Comedy and turned it into a Devil May Cry clone on anything.
It wasn't just a Devil May Cry clone. It was a bad Devil May Cry clone. Like,
well, I guess it's more like a God of War.
Yeah, it was more
clone.
like a God of War clone. But you can make the Divine Comedy into an action game if that's what you want. You just got to make it fucking good.
Fair enough. I mean, Hades is an action game based on folklore. Based on
I was about to
gods.
say, they go through all the circles of hell and Shadows of the Damned if you want.
Let me explain something to EA, because apparently they didn't learn it back in 2013, as we see with them continually developing games. The cross-section of people who want to play a God of War clone and people who enjoy seeing babies birthed out of nipples are not the same audience. That is something that happens in that game.
Did you ever play Dante's Inferno?
No, I'm not whatting that. I'm saying those aren't the same
they're different
people.
audiences.
Oh, okay.
No.
Hardcore weird horror fans who like surreal shit probably won't like your beat 'em up game.
But once you get those people,
well,
it's weird.
We're targeting
Dante's.
a niche here.
Wait, did you guys know Dante's Inferno underperformed in sales? Weird. Get it.
Oh, crazy.
Look, it's not their fault. It's the customer's fault.
Yeah, the customer should have just bought it.
They should have just liked the game.
Hey, guys, I gotta stop the podcast for a second to just tell you something really quick. Everyone, level 30 at crafting.
Oh, that's great. I got a second pair of holy sandals.
While we're sitting here, hey Jordan, you're gonna edit the podcast, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to apologize for my roommate. So,
I haven't heard your roommate yet.
That's okay. Continue. I'll just mute your track.
Yep.
That's what I do.
He basically shook the floor of our apartment just a few minutes ago.
Hey, guys.
What's he playing, Half-Life Alyx or something?
Nope. He's probably just watching TikToks on iPhone.
Hey, guys. You want to play Sniper Elite Zombies with me?
I don't know if I have it, but that'd be
kind of fun.
Are there any 3-player games out there?
RuneScape.
No, but
most of the PVM is designed around having 3 players, pretty much. I actually don't know any games that are designed with trios in mind. If you want to go play a WoW, we could do WoW Arenas.
I know one.
Oh.
I know one. It's
What
dead,
game?
but it was around.
Oh, Left 4 Dead. Got it. Yeah, man.
Oh, we could play Left 4 Dead and just kill the AI at the beginning. You guys want to go play some
Jordan,
Left 4 Dead?
Battle Right.
Oh yeah, Battle Right was
Great
3.
too. I miss Battle Right.
I don't even know that
Battle.
game.
So
Never heard of it.
you might have
Battle
known
Right-
Bloodline Champions if you were into League of Legends early, or you even heard about it. It was made by the same developers. It's basically, League of Legends, how it's a top-down like arena type thing. Remove the lanes, remove the creep grind where you have to gather gold and level up, and just make it nice circular arenas with like stuff to like dodge around behind and little objectives to take. That was it. It was just arena combat from a top-down perspective. It was awesome, and
It's way better than League.
Of course, it died.
Yeah, like straight up the design of this game and of.
But do you want to know
Battle
why
Right
it died? Are you ready? There was a drought of content patches and character because they decided to make a battle royale mode.
That's not the reason it died.
There was
No, it's not. It was struggling before that.
I played this game when it happened. The game
I've watched
was slowly losing players, and then guess what? You want to know when I left? There was no updates for 2 months, and then they said, "Hey, here's some new skins. Also, we're making a battle royale mode."
So that may be what killed it, but Bloodline Champions died before that because it could not find a player base. Neither Bloodline Champions nor Battle Right ever found people to play the game. And that's the problem, is you can have the best game in the world. If you can't get people to play your multiplayer game, it will die.
But I think the fact that they basically did no content updates for like 2 or 3 months on their game, where you played the same arenas every week, and then they tried to release a battle royale mode, I think that probably hurt it.
What game am I thinking of?
What game are you thinking of?
Well, you think on that. From what I know about the game, the battle royale was essentially like it was like a YOLO. We're dying. We have this much money. We need to make some money back. So we're
as someone who has been involved in bad business decisions, that's how you phrase it. But I can tell you, nothing ever hits that far into development, and then you YOLO it. Like, that, it was too far along. They spent too much time on it for them to say, "Oh yeah, we were dying already and we're trying to reach for a new mode." No, they had this in their back pocket. It lined up right when Fortnite came out and got big.
I think it's more that they were making a game, it was failing. They saw Fortnite got big and said, maybe this will work. And the funny thing is, it did. I remember watching a couple of videos about this because I found Battle Right again. I was like, this game is so much fun. Why did it die? And the thing is, it fucking worked. It brought players back. People really enjoyed the Battle Royale. The problem is that it took their already kind of meh player base and split it in two.
Partially because
the Battle Royale became more popular than the other game because it actually had things that, this is so when you make a PvP game now, everyone will add in some form of RNG or variance because you have to. Otherwise, people get bored of it. And that's why the Battle Royale did better, is because that's why Battle Royales do well in the first place, is because they have variance and people like it. It keeps it interesting.
I've played, so I really like my multiplayer games without large amounts of variance. Ignore the card games. Those, I accept the variance. But I really loved Quake Champions. Because it didn't have random bullshit. It didn't have some fucking drop-in mechanic. Do you know why Quake Champions died? Because it never left beta, and they fucking slapped a $60 price tag on a game where you had to buy characters. Well, it wasn't $60, but there was a price tag on it. It was a free-to-play game, but they had you pay for it up front.
Hi guys.
So I know what the game I was thinking of. I was thinking of Dead Game that had the word battle in it.
Battlefront?
Which one?
No. Battleborn.
Oh, I meant.
Oh, Battleborn was the thing too.
Battleborn was.
I remember playing that in
fun.
beta. It was like the open beta, and I loved it.
Yeah,
I
it was
enjoyed
fun.
it so much, and then it just died the second it
I
actually
think the single
released.
player slash
Yeah.
co-op multiplayer was a lot of fun, and the biggest issue with it was a few of the modes were really hard to play. Like it was just a mess of like colors and particle effects going off, and you had trouble keeping track of where you were. Um, but the single player and the multiplayer was actually awesome. I really liked the co-op.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of when you guys were saying Battle Right. I'm like, is that the game with the guy with the mushroom
I
head?
still remember Battleborn, and I still remember Shane, who was my favorite character, and I just want to go back and play Shane. I
Shane and
loved Shane and
RX.
RX. They were my favorite.
Yeah, yeah, that game was cool. Kind of got destroyed by
Gigantic was
Overwatch.
cool too, and that died.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so here's the problem with live service games. If you're not so, and this is the thing I've seen multiple live service games do wrong. So, how we were having that discussion earlier about how Legends of Runeterra has ditched this whole quarterly thing and instead does every 2 months. The reason why is because people keep doing live service games wrong. People keep doing this thing where they're like, we're gonna wait 6 months and then release a big update to bring a lot of people. No, stop that shit. You need people playing that game constantly. And the reason why is if someone takes a minute to queue, they will turn off your game and not come back. That will make them think it's a dead game. And you need to click the play button and immediately get into a game, and for that you need players. And that's why people build these bullshit systems that keep you playing 24/7 is because you are the content. They need you to keep playing.
I think there's a lot of space in the world for smaller, tight-knit communities, and I think that's a more sustainable model, and I would argue that Legends of Runeterra is actually going after that crowd. They are highly community
to some
driven.
extent.
They are very vocal with their community. Yes. They constantly take in like feedback from them to the point where some of the nerfs you've talked to me about, community members are like kind of questioning it as like, was that really a problem? I heard people complaining, but I don't really think that was a problem mechanic. And I think that it's more like, I agree. A lot of live service games do their service wrong. I think that we're getting to the point where people are realizing it's more important to engage your community in a way where they kind of feel more involved. And I think that's what's missing with a lot of games. Like, I think Legends of Runeterra is doing it correctly, where they're like, we're a live service game and we're going to act like we're live. We're going to talk to you. We're going to see what you want to do. We're going to actually make you feel like we care as a game developer. Because a lot of live service games, they like throw stuff out there that just, it's that treadmill of like, we're going to keep you playing, but they don't actually do things to improve the game either.
Yeah. Which, not to continually bring you back to Legends of Runeterra, as an example of them listening to the community, they nerfed Ezreal because the community was complaining about it. Then they unnerfed him because they realized that section of the community was just complaining.
Well, yeah, I watched a lot of the Death of a Game series, and I think you linked me a video about like, it was basically about people who design a game from scratch versus people who come up with a concept, put it out, and then they kind of fix it after the fact. Yeah,
Swim. Yeah, it was Swim, who was a Legends of Runeterra streamer. He also does game design consulting. He was talking about iterative game design over designing with a plan in mind. A lot of developers do what's called iterative game design, where they say, we have a problem, we're going to fix it, and then we're going to move on to the next problem. Instead of saying, we have a plan of where we want our game to go, we're going to stick to the plan and just make it.
I think whether it's a single player game, multiplayer game, no matter what, you want to start your game from a place where you have an idea of what it looks like at the end. You don't want to just sit down and go, okay, we want to make an action game. Who's our protagonist? Like, that's not a good idea. That's not how you make a game. That's how you make a movie or you write a book. Is you go, I want to tell the story. The way you make a game is you probably start with the gameplay. You try to find an experience you can give to people. And I think a lot of developers get too mixed up in like, some developers go too hard. They're like Valve, where they're like, no, we're right. we don't need to listen to you. We have our design. And then other developers are just like, we didn't really have an idea to begin with.
Yeah. Well, I think another thing that a lot of developers do wrong with live service games and making multiplayer games is making them in the first place. They're expensive. They require constant upkeep. They require a specific type of design to keep people playing long term. A lot of developers can't do them right. Like, they literally cannot. They don't have the upfront money. They don't have the marketing. They just don't quite have it. It's like, I see these developers have made like 2 games before, and they're like, we're going to make the next Fortnite. I'm like,
Capcom is a multi-million-dollar company, and they cannot do fighting game netcode correctly. Why the fuck do you think you can?
I don't know, actually. Skullgirls was made by only a few people and has amazing netcode. Problem is, it couldn't really find a community either.
I don't think it was made by them. They borrowed it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah? Well, why the fuck doesn't Capcom do that?
You have the right question in mind now. No one has been able to figure that out.
Now we're getting somewhere.
We all know what we want from Cap. Do you remember how I was talking about some developers have this idea of like, no, this is our design. We don't need to listen to you. People have been telling Capcom, Arc System Works, fucking even the Tekken devs, their netcode's not bad, but people have been telling them what's wrong with it for years, and they still don't change it. Tekken's pretty good now. Like, I think it's rollback now. But for years, they've released, like, the last few Tekkens, and it's just like, what are you doing? Or, here's another good example. Fucking Nintendo. Hey, guys, we don't need online features. It's just the standard for gaming.
Yeah, we don't need online games. We don't have
codes.
Good online for our fighting game.
It's like back in the day when you wanted your stupid NES and it couldn't save your game. So you had to remember a stupid code. Everyone loves that.
Dude, I don't know.
This is like the most bitter I've ever heard Jake on like something that's like not like an actual like necessary we need to talk about this
I
thing.
could do a whole hour-long episode on how much Nintendo gets up their own fucking asses. When they make a good game, they make some of the best games on the face of the planet. But even Breath of the Wild had destructible fucking weapons, which was one of the worst features of any game I've ever fucking heard.
I mean,
by the way, this video just got taken down.
I don't care. Nintendo. Fight me.
They mentioned Breath of the Wild. Get in there. I don't know. It is interesting because it's like you see a company like, so we've talked about both Among Us and Fall Guys on the show before. It's the tale of 2 casual games. We got Among Us and we got Fall Guys. One of these was made by literally 3 people and is still now, after months, the biggest game in the world. People are still playing it more than like any other game. And then we have other game that's made by like a real studio that actually has a decent number of employees.
Is it technically an indie game?
It is. It's technically an
indie game, but like it's an indie studio. It's not like 3 people like Among Us was. It's like they both had issues at launch because they were both super popular. But one of them stuck around and the other one just kind of died. And it's just like, and I think it honestly might be because one of them is just simple. Like, that's the reason why Among Us did so well. It's just simple and easy to pick up. Meanwhile, Fall Guys, you jump in and you're like, oh, well, this is fun and all, but man, I gotta get crowns to buy things. I can't just have cosmetics. Can't I just spend like $5 to buy a cosmetic? Oh, wait, I don't want to spend $5 to buy a cosmetic. I spent like $30 on this game. Oh.
They also made a lot of the mini games more complicated.
Yeah. Oh, yeah?
Like, it was super simple to start. It's like, hey, jump through this wall or push this ball into the goal. Yeah. Now it's like you gotta climb shit, and there's just so many moving parts to it now. Like, I think they overcomplicate it.
It's ironic to me because I feel like Fall Guys and Among Us are kind of like similar in design. They're both obviously meant for a more casual audience, but
the beans. Everyone's a bean.
Yeah, everyone's a bean.
I feel like
both games.
Fall Guys could benefit a lot by giving you a little tighter controls, a little more control of your character. Like make it a little bit more skill based and a little bit less like bullshitty, you know? and then actually make it like a skill-based game. Like, make that the focus. Because I saw a lot of people who started playing Fall Guys, and they were very, very into it for the first little bit. And then they kind of realized there wasn't a lot of... there's not like a ranked play system. There's not like...
You need depth in an online game.
I'll be honest, that game shouldn't have ranked.
I would agree.
I agree.
I think
as it is now, it would be a disaster if you implemented ranked. But the problem is that if Jordan's been talking about this a lot, if you want people to keep coming back to your game, you got to give them something for strive for. And there's a lot of people, and a lot of the most dedicated people in a game don't really care about cosmetics. You go look at a League of Legends pro, they really don't give a shit about skins.
You have to figure out, because there's like the two paths you could take Fall Guys down. You could take it the way Jake's saying, where you add a ranked mode, you make it more skill based, or you could leave it as a casual game where people. And the reality is that as we've watched games, multiplayer based games develop, we've realized that trying to make your game competitive is actually a way better way to keep players playing long term. Look at Rocket League.
Yeah, you make a small.
The pro scene is still kicking.
Skill based multiplayer game that's easy to get into, but it has a high ceiling, and then you give people the like a low barrier to entry, like $10, or in Fall Guys case, if they're gonna have the shop the way it is, where you can buy cosmetics, go full into that and make the damn thing free to play.
Yeah.
So here's going to be my theory, and this is going to be a theory that we'll see in the future because it's about the future.
Mm-hmm.
I think Fall Guys will have another resurgence.
I think so.
The issue I had with the game was there wasn't enough to it yet. Like, there was only 10 games to play or something like that. Then they added 2 more, but then you kept seeing those 2. I think if you let this game sit for about a year, let them keep adding things, like get the dedicated fans to keep playing, and just keep the game afloat that way, in a year's time, that game is going to be amazingly fun again, because there's going to be dozens upon dozens of games to play, and no episodes are going to be the same.
Yeah. I kind of agree. I think that once there's triple the amount of mini games there are now, it's gonna be kind of fun, because you can play a match and not see the same mini game 4 matches in a row or something like that.
Yeah, it's like this last season, it was like, what's that night one called? Like the one with Thick Bonkus and all that shit.
Yeah.
Then you would go to oh crap, I can't even remember now. It was always like a 3-team. No, it wasn't a 3-team game. It was a like rollout usually. And then after rollout, you'd go to the team game. Then after the team game, which was usually like the egg scramble, but the castle version.
You basically don't want it to have a formula. You want it to throw random.
On that same note, I think that they are not. So I think one of Fall Guys' like advantages as a game is like, you see Fall Guys and you know it's Fall Guys, and they definitely want that in their maps. But it would also be nice if it was more obvious what the theme was. Like, maybe the skybox is different on the night maps. Like, it looks like you're in like a wooded area or something, or near a castle.
No, I think that they do that fine enough with the actual maps themselves.
Well, but think about it this way. What if when you're on the winter map, it like everything's just covered in snow except for the like map itself? I think the skybox especially, like, you should just change that to match the map, because the beans are gonna make it obvious what game you're playing. It's already got the bright, crazy colors. I think that a little bit more theming in the actual maps would actually be really nice. Hey, guess what else would be really nice?
Yeah.
What?
I think
if we ended the show, because we're going over on time once again. If you guys like my lovely co-hosts, one of them, his name's Justin. He's Dubious Justin everywhere. You should go hang out with him on Twitter. Message him. He doesn't tweet a lot. Make him tweet more.
No, I don't tweet.
Stalk him.
No, that's illegal.
No, only if they get caught.
And then if you want to watch Jordan, he plays a lot of RuneScape, kind of like me.
I do.
He actually tweets. I said he actually tweets.
I do. I tweeted a whole bunch of crap today because I got bored and wanted to yell at people, yell into the void. I'm actually probably going to go live after this and stream for a little bit because I'm trying to stream a lot because Christmas is the week and I won't get the chance to later this week.
Me too. Or maybe I will anyway. We'll see. Anyway,
Christmas
stream is
stream?
at Fox everywhere. Go give him a follow, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, all that stuff. You've been here before. You know what I'm going to say. My name is Jake the Jackal. I've been your host. If you like this show, you should go check out our Patreon. I'm not even hitting up my stuff. You know me. I'm Jake the Jackal. You can find me places. Put me in Google. And we'll see you next week.
He's on Twitch, Twitter, and
Back
YouTube.
off. Don't you stop it. When I do something for a bit, you let me do the bit. You're fired.
You're not allowed to
All
not
right.
promote yourself.
We'll see you guys next week. We hope you all have a happy holidays. If you like Christmas and celebrate Christmas, it's at the end of this week. We'll probably put this up on the day of. So hope you got some awesome stuff. Hope you're hanging out with your family. Be safe out there, okay?
Yeah. Wash your damn hands and wear a mask.
Yeah, and hope you enjoy whatever winter solstice holiday you actually celebrate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See you guys.
Jake hates it. Jake hates it when we extend this outro, so I'm just gonna keep.
I'm gonna just hit stop recording. So, bye now.
I didn't have a joke. Bye.